Gonna happen. All righty. Hey, True Believers England team here. Another Tales from the Longbox. And this time around, we are talking about Barry Windsor Smith's Rune. I haven't read this in forever and a day. Seriously, it has been such a...
Didn't you end up saying the same thing about Triumph and Torment when we did it last week?
Yeah. Oh, I
For like
hadn't
the
read that
20 minutes we were able to do it as we should have done it.
Yeah,
But
I hadn't read that in forever and a day either. So I was really looking forward to that one. And this, I realized, I don't know if I've ever read this at all. I don't remember a damn thing about it. Like Triumph and Torment, I had an idea of where the story was going. This, not
Right.
at all. So
this is the first time I actually have read this. I hadn't heard of this before it was at the list.
hey, Dave, what's up? So I was very happy to be able to check out a comic book I have not read before. I'm just going straight up. I will say, as I was scrolling through this book, you come across the ending where they have advertisements for the Ultraverse, Malibu's superhero universe, the Ultraverse. And I was surprised to find out the freaking talent that is attached to the Ultraverse. We've got Mike Barr, we've got Straczynski, we've got oh my gosh, James Robinson. There's some really
there was a lot of talent in them there hills.
And from what I read, their little blurbs, and they were saying they're the anti-Image. Image was, oh, we're going to get a lot of great artists. Let's throw them in here. And the Ultraverse said, yeah, we're going to make sure we have the best writers. And there we go.
Which I think it's fair to say that approach benefited them more than Image being Image.
Well, no, Image is still around. Rune, not so much. Revolution, I found it on Read Comics Online. That's what I'm reading it on right here.
Eventually, the Ultraverse got folded into the Marvel proper continuity.
Yeah. Oh, and that's right. Aaron Lopresti was with Ultraverse as well. For those.
Yeah.
So overall, what Dominic, I'll bring you into this conversation. What was your overall thought on this particular book?
Well, all I can tell you is it has the makings of a supernatural horror thriller. And what with Rune, what makes it stand out from its peers is not only did it come out of like the Malibu's like first crossover event breakthrough, but also it's one of those rare cases where a villain protagonist like has an ongoing series. In this case, with Rune.
Yeah. I was actually surprised about that. The Rune is the bad guy.
Yeah.
It reminded me a lot of Elric of Melvin A. Because for those that don't know, in Elric of Melvin A, he is a hero in the loosest sense, but he is also a hero whose race is a race of horrifying black magicians. So he's
dark. Just say dark, because that could be taken the wrong way.
Yeah, but also
he's definitely the most anti-heroic of Michael Moorcock's Eternal Champions, which is what made me think of this. It also had like sword and sorcery vibes, and this has that to some degree. Although I wasn't expecting the alien thing.
Okay, let me take a moment out. Revolution. We're going to be talking about how good this is during our review here. One thing this is the story. You got this guy right here. He's sleeping and he wakes up to crash. He had a bad dream. And then the object of his nightmare actually crashes through the window. And we find out Rune is a power siphon, kind of like Parasite for Superman. He feeds off of superpowers. So he goes after people he senses power within. And he is the bad guy. Make no mistake.
He basically does what they had Agatha doing, minus the like energy drain thing. They make Rune is more of a traditional vampire type character.
And
yes, and
I got to tell you,
series,
sorry, go ahead, Dom.
In the series, yeah, even like with Rune, like he is the villain protagonist, like of the series. But he's like the hero to take him down is the one that he tries to drain, Eric Johnson.
Yeah. And we're going to be doing a little bit different than we normally do, because normally we go through the story and such. I just want to talk about, because the first 5 issues, this is the first time I think a comic book wrote for the trades. Not specifically, but this is not a single issue comic.
It's a continuous ongoing story for the 5 issues.
The first 5 issues tell one long story, and there is no repeated pages, which is what a lot of comics would do. The splash page would tell you what happened in the last issue, so then you could continue on. This is a direct continuing story, much like you would find in later 2000s and 2010 comics. So you're taken for the ride. And a lot of the stuff, like his name's Eric, the main character, he doesn't know what's going on. And you as the reader are finding out along with him. And he is just in continuous motion. So there is a time where this book gets a little bit confused. Is it, okay, wait, what's going on here? Who is this? Why is this happening? Everything by the end of the 5th issue, everything is explained and you understand what's going on. But mind you, you are taken for a ride just the same as the main character here. I'll let you guys talk for a second.
I don't really have anything to add as yet.
Oh, I can tell you what. Remember, we bring the series along with the issue 0, which actually leads into issue 1. But it's almost like just as I remember it, because like even though like Rune is a villain protagonist who you like once he gets beaten, like it does like establish who he is, as well as the people like who are chasing after him to take him down. In this case, Eric Johnson, like who tried to save his dad, but unfortunately he ends up being Rune's victim, and his powers like activated in the nick of time to really incapacitate Rune.
I didn't really root for Rune to lose. Then again, I've always had an easy time rooting for villains, because normally when I would watch a Disney movie, I would end up rooting for the villain.
Wow.
Because the heroes were not likable and didn't have a personality of their own for the most part.
And he's evil.
I am not a good person and have never claimed to be. This is not new.
So he somehow expels Rune, as we see. He ends up a couple miles away in a tree, and everybody's gathered. And that was one thing. It's like, you think the kid's a victim. They're going to be investigating, like, oh, okay, we, this is the bad guy. The kid is the good guy. So we got to take care of him. But as it goes, you come to find out that, no, they need him. They steal the body of Rune, and they decide to go on in and get the kid as well. And along the way, we meet this guy here who is half man, half robot, I guess a cyborg. And he is doing little analysis, of Rune. So, like I said, as I'm reading this, I'm confused. I'm like, wait, what? Because they don't stop for you. You've got to catch up. You got to, if you're going to read this book, this is not like a TV show you put on in the background. This is one you have to pay attention to, because they do insert new characters. They take old ones out with impunity. You are expected to know what you're thinking and know what you're talking about when you read this story.
Which honestly I really appreciated in this book, because that's a bad habit I've noticed a lot of modern day writers get into, is the assumption that they have to micro explain every last detail in the most stupid way possible. And yet a lot of things that need to be explained don't get explained anyway. But yeah, this I liked because this is the kind of stuff I miss from like Vertigo in its heyday as well. It's like they expect their audience to have a IQ above room temperature and expect them to have an attention span that lasts for longer than the space of a goldfish.
Then I'll
be
the first to admit that my my IQ did not heat up quick enough. Because the first issue, I was like, "The happened?" I mean, I was like, "Wait, what?" Because this, along with writing for the trade, it doesn't explain. It doesn't give a, "Oh well, this happened in the last issue," and any of that. It does not hold your hand at all. So each issue also, there's not a lot of bum bum bum. Tune in next time. A lot of these books, of the 5, by the way, the first 5 tell the story. They end. That's it. They're done. Okay, now just wait until you get the next chapter. There's not that big scene like, oh my God, I can't believe it's General Willis, and General Willis was on the good guy side all this time. It just decides, okay, that's it. We're gonna end. Done.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, the Ultraverse came out in the 90s. Yes.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, late 90s.
Okay, so that actually explains this because
not really the late 90s. It came out in the early mid 90s.
Oh,
okay, but back onto what I was saying. It does make sense why there's none of that, because a large part of the like British invasion ethos era was, we're not going to do a lot of the comic book cliches, and the, check out such and such an issue for information on this is one of those cliches that they were eschewing at the time. So again, thinking in terms of like Vertigo from around the same time.
Now, one thing I would like to point out, and once again, we're not going through the entire story, like showing all the stuff and reading it and all that kind of stuff this time. But you get this general character, this robot, this cyborg here, and he's analyzing, he's trying to go through Rune's past, and you find out Rune is an alien, like say he's an energy cipher, and he's incredibly powerful. And the general here, who is, as I said, a cyborg, is supposed to connect with him so he can study him. At the same time, we've got the hero here and his mother and his girlfriend, and they're all taken into this big... It reminded me of Kit in the Knight Rider series. He always drove up into a big truck. And while everybody is talking about him, they make their escape. We also find out, by the way, he's a twin. And the twin, by the way, has exactly the same mother, exactly the same father. So you come to find out, okay, his whole life is a setup. But what ends up happening is this robot guy who's hooking up to Rune, all of a sudden Rune gets the upper hand, and he starts to torture the cyborg. That's issue number 1.
Okay, and I should pause here to point out, the only thing I didn't really like about the backstory we ended up getting for him was the alien thing. I don't like. Maybe it's just because I have become far too burnt out on the ancient alien thing in the first place. But the alien aspect just wasn't needed, because it's not as though him being an alien really contributes anything to his power set or anything. Is the thing. He could have just as easily been an ancient, like, Hyborian age quasi vampire, and it would have made just as much sense. Because
let me say hello to everybody in the chat. We've got some people watching and talking. Hello to Leon and to Jay Lucian for jumping in. Nicholas Gawal, excited for the Storm on various team covers ranking. You gave me a bit of a challenge here, because I went looking. There ain't a lot of them, so I'll do my best. I'm gonna find some non-X-Men Storm covers for you. Thank you very much. He went over to Ko-Fi and dropped $5 into the tip jar and said, "Make a video." So after the Henry month, that one will show up. So there you go. It'll be in next season. Let's see. What are we talking about? My room temp is default 200 degrees, says Jay Lucian. Oh, okay, I see what you said. But Barry Winder Smith did some crazy good work on this book. I know, right? That's good stuff.
To be fair, Dark Admiral, I don't like the ancient alien trope at the best of times. So unless you're actually gonna do something with it, I would just as soon have left it out.
But he is right. He is right. At the time, it wasn't overdone or overwrought.
Yeah, which is fair, but it's still like, okay, is that ever going to come into play as part of his power set or part of his character?
But
no? Well, then why?
It's kind of like you may hear about Citizen Kane, or you may hear about some Alfred Hitchcock movies, and you hear about the awesome camera angles and the way that they film things, and you get to it after you've watched all of the stuff, and then you realize, I've seen all the tricks that they used because all the copycats came in. At this point in time, this wasn't a big thing here. This channel is the ruin of YouTube. Yes, big vampire trying to suck off the teat of the. I don't know where I'm going with that one. All right. Anyway,
as for the organization that took care of Rune, that is Aladdin. They're essentially the shield of the Ultraverse.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
No, he's right. The people who took the kid and the girlfriend and the mom is the shield. They call him Aladdin. That's what they call themselves. And obviously they've got people who are embedded all over, because this cop he was investigating. He just says, okay, I know where to take him. He takes him to the truck, and they do make their escape. And then we see exactly what I was talking about. The Rune turns the tables on the robot that was trying to hook up to him and assimilate knowledge, and instead Rune begins to assimilate
it becomes a I'm not locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me situation.
And I got to tell you, the next issue, and I mean it might even be an issue and a half, is just Rune torturing this guy. Everything else is okay. What's going on with the kid? What's going on with his family? Oh wait, he does have a twin. Let's get them together. Let's not get them together. All the while, Rune is here, stealing information, stealing power, and torturing as you can see.
Yeah, he's basically doing the whole jigsaw routine on this guy.
Yeah,
all because he tried to jack into him.
Yeah. So in no way, shape, or form is Rune supposed to be a sympathetic character. You are not rooting for him, which is one problem I actually have with the book. Is I didn't particularly care for the good guys. So to me, that's
the thing. I think that's why I had an easy time defaulting to my usual. I sympathize more with the villain mode, because, and this is a problem with Disney movies too. The villains often have more relatable emotions and more grandeur and gravitas, and that is likable in comparison to good character whose personality is nothing more than they are good because the plot says they're good, but I don't have anything else to go on here.
Now, Dom, you have to have something to say. I would like to say, I want to keep getting you in the conversation. You muted yourself here. Come on in, man. Jump in. The water's fine, dude.
Well, yeah, I do have several stuff to say. Yeah, I do have some to say, because I have read Rune and the other Ultraverse titles before in the past. So with this one is pretty much a reread, and just rereading when witnessing this moment of the book again, it reminded me of how much of a threat Rune is.
Alrighty. Goodness. So let's move this on here as we see him, because is this the I forgot. By the way, I have to point out I read from some files I had. This is Read Comics Online, and I've got this, and they include the ads, right? So I was looking at this, And I thought it was funny that I don't know if it's this one or not, but I saw Exo Man of War. Here it is. If you get a number 0, it would cost you 3, but if you got a number 1, it would cost you $50, and a number 2, 35. And I don't think they command that amount of money anymore. Here's get a Youngblood number 1 for $10.
Yeah, I saw that when I was reading Rune through another website. That is, it's called Zip Comics. It's like read comics online, but it's pretty much safe. But yeah, when I was reading that, I saw that as well. Like, what?
Yeah, I think I love looking at these old prices and everything. I know this is off topic, ladies and gentlemen, but there you go. I just wanted to point those out. In the meantime, you can get an Uncanny X-Men number 300 for $2. So it does go the other way too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
But to get back on track with Rune, yes. We're like it's established that he is not. But he is a villain protagonist, but he is not sympathetic. That he does not express remorse to his actions at all, especially as we learn more about him.
Also, what is it? His girlfriend's called Marky. His name is Eric. They escape the what was it called, Aladdin. And when they're by themselves, his eyes start glowing. As she says, "Your eyes are on fire." And he starts exhibiting powers, and he actually says it's happening again. So he's been through this thing, and he's telling her to get away because he doesn't know what kind of damage he's going to do. Then, of course, we cut to the twin, and he's having the same kind of effects. And we get a backstory for him, and it turns out that he was in Vietnam. Which I'm thinking, wait a second, this is in the 90s. He looks like he's 20 years old, tops. He would be my age. If it's 95, he'd be 25 years old. So in order for him to be in Vietnam, there's something going on.
There has to be an immortality factor or a healing factor or
a
something.
Clone thing or something along those lines.
Well, he was gravely injured. So because he was made into a cyborg, it renderably made him immortal.
Oh, I thought it was Eric. This is the general. That's right. Okay. I was like, wait a second. Okay.
Anyway.
But hey, no, I did say that there were parts where I was like, what the fuck is going on?
But with Rune, see how he got his immortality, how it is through the Star Stones. However, much like with Elric's sword, so like it's pretty much
it becomes a parasitic thing, which I'm of two minds on this. Do you think Rune feels any sort of like tragedy in considering the price that his immortality comes with? I
don't get it. I don't get anything like that.
Because that would have been an interesting way to go about it, but I don't think that's what we're supposed to glean from this.
I think he's
whatever remorse or guilt he had. After he found the Star Stones, which gave him his immortality, that's no longer there.
Well, that's the question I had. Did he at one point have remorse, and it became because forever is a long time, immortality makes his remorse go numb, or did he just never have remorse to begin with? That was the question I had.
In the 5-issue series, the 5-issue story we're looking at right here, I get no sense that he ever felt remorse. I will say this: exactly. This is ridiculous. They were given orders that you got to save the guy. Don't care what happens to the girl, and she's holding them back with a pistol and a kick to the groin. Like, no. So she does stop him though. She holds him back, and then we get to see Eric and his fire guy. They don't give him a name. It's Eric, and he's just he's a little bit ticked that they are attacking his girl, and he's like, you won't hurt her, and things happen. And he blows up. There you go.
So essentially his powers are a bit like Rexplode from Invincible.
Well, a little bit, but also you have to understand that his brother is in an airplane going through the same thing. So his brother lights up. And we see a little bit more of the general's background and how he came across this huge animal's rib cage. By the way, this is just explaining what's going on. That was it, though. That's how the book ends. That's it. It says, the glow that I chased from the below was everywhere. The stale air was vibrating its energy, unearthly, alien power, and its mind to plunder. That's how it ends. And each issue is like this. There's hardly ever an issue that ends with a bang. It's always just something along.
Join us next time for the next installment of Rune.
But look at these names: Aaron Lopresti, Steve Gerber. We've got Mike Barr. We've got Gerard Jones. We've got James Robinson, James Hudnall. I mean, these are stress.
Yeah, the who's who of who would survive the 90s and become really, really successful writers.
Norm Brayfogle, Steve Englehart. I mean, this is some good writers on these books, man. Seriously. I got to say, I was very impressed. Impressed.
Like I keep saying, this made me very nostalgic for 90s Vertigo.
Yeah.
Because it does have a very similar vibe to 90s Vertigo.
It made me want to pick up more Ultraverse, to tell you the truth. Read some Prime, some Mantra, some...
Yeah, this is my first exposure to the Ultraverse. So if nothing else, it managed to make the Ultraverse an interesting concept for me. So much so that I ended up Googling, what became of Rune after this series, and found out that they folded the Ultraverse into the Marvel continuity proper.
Yeah, and then Marvel...
the Marvel Multiverse. The Marvel Multiverse, and it's a blessing in disguise that Marvel Comics is not doing anything with the Ultraverse, because the creators, as well as the head of Malibu Comics, they still have the rights and royalties to the characters that they made.
Which is not that they have the rights and everything. That's good, but it's a shame that Marvel isn't doing anything with them. But then again, today's writers would have access to them, and I don't want that. So, in one way, it's sad that nothing really came of the Ultraverse joining the Marvel Universe. But at the same time, at least modern day writers aren't going to befoul them anytime soon, hopefully.
Okay, so you are a fan of magic and mystic and basically, what was your take on it? Did you like this book?
I like the sort of classic sword and sorcery. Again, this makes me think a lot of Elric, more so even than like a Conan or anything.
Yeah.
That being said, I kind of wish we had started with the sorcery-based backstory and left the alien thing out, just because, again, at least within the issues that we're covering today, the alien thing does not factor in at fucking all. You could have just as easily made him a Hyborian Age sorcerer who finds the Star Stones, and we could have proceeded from there with nary a feather ruffled.
Alrighty. How about you, Dom? In the end, if you were to give an overall review here, what would you say? What would you say about it?
Well, with the first storyline from issue 0 to 5, I'm gonna give this one. I'll give this storyline for Rune. That's in between a 7.5 and an 8. Because as far as the narrative issues, it is overall a good series, a good storyline for the series. And also has much readability.
All right. Well,
what the Ultraverse, not only it covers different genres of fiction besides capes, they actually the creators involved, they actually planned this way ahead of time before they even launched the Ultraverse.
Yeah. You receded a little bit there. Just give you a heads up.
Yeah, you drifted away from your mic too much, bud.
Yeah. Personally, this thing grabbed me right away. Like I said, I didn't, but for the first issue, I did not know what was going on. I didn't really catch on until about midway through the second issue. And by then it was like, okay, I'm hooked. I want to find out what's going on. Hey, down. Freaking cats. Don't jump on my printer now. Goes from counter he's not supposed to be on to going over to the printer, which he's not supposed to be on. I'm fucking cats, man. But also once it got going, I was okay. I kind of okay, we know who the characters are. We can relate to them. That's good. I mean, unless of course, unlike Dalton, most of us aren't a soul-sucking vampire, so maybe we don't relate to.
Hey, I resent
Rune
that. I'm not a vampire. I withhold the right to comment on the soul sucking thing though, because that might be true. Fair enough.
Yeah, but unlike Rune, Elric is a good guy, even though he's more of the anti-hero side of heroism, in spite of the fact that he has a parasitic relationship with his sword.
That being said, I would really, really like to see a fight between Rune and Elric. It would be really, really cool.
Well, I don't know if he shows up in issue number 6. I think it's a whole new story starting in issue number 6 because it looks like Nightshade.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure they couldn't do. Wait, no. Roy Thomas did the Elric books, and by Marvel's old school editorial mandate, that means that some version of Elric exists in the Marvel universe. So they literally could, at some point, do an Elric versus Rune story. I want that now. Damn it.
Yeah, by issue 6, they're actually going up against it's Ultraverse going up against Rune. So yeah, this is a whole new thing. I haven't read issue number 6. This is only a 9-issue series, by the way.
Black Spider, that probably wouldn't go very well for Blade because Rune is not a Darkhold created vampire. So kind of in the same category as Morbius, although in the much better direction than Morbius. Blade going after him probably wouldn't go well for him, especially because Rune, in addition to being a blood vampire, is also an energy vampire, which I don't think Blade has any skills that can counter energy vampirism, because most of the Darkhold created vampires in the Marvel universe don't do the energy vampirism thing.
This was a very easy read also. I don't know about you guys, but I breezed through it.
Yeah, no, I really like this. In case you couldn't tell from my constant references to it reminding me a lot of Roy Thomas's Elric and from classic DC Vertigo, which are, several of my favorite things. So it says something that my first instinct after reading this is, no, this goes in the same category as some of my favorite things. Which I wonder if there is a Rune omnibus now. I want to.
No.
Unfortunately, they're not going for for the other titles of Malibu Thomas.
Dom, closer to the mic, dude. Closer to the mic.
Yeah, can't really hear you there. You might have to jump on about that. Black Spider saying he tried Rune years ago, but not enough action. I understand that. I understand that, especially at the time. I think I would probably have done the same thing. I did like Mantra, and I did like the Prime book and Hard Case. I liked all the others, but I never actually read Rune. I don't know what it was that made me not interested in reading it. I think I even read Sludge. And I don't mind that it's kind of light on action, because action isn't a super high priority for me. I mean, it's nice, but I can do without it if you're good at giving me like gravitas and grandeur, which this does definitely have in spades. Again, it's very reminiscent of Vertigo in Vertigo's heyday.
which I like a lot. And my fucking god, do I miss this kind of writing? The kind of writing that expects you to be literate and not a 20-year-old with the Arrested Development mentality of a 10-year-old.
But it was like totally chill, dude. The modern day stuff. Nightman wasn't a terrible book, but the TV show was unfortunately hilarious. I see the TV show is on one of the Prime channels. I'm gonna check that out. Or
I did see when I was looking up Rune-related information on the wikis after reading that that they did do an Ultraverse show. I hadn't heard anything about it though, other than the fact that it existed. So
I think that's on Tubi as well. Maybe that'd be something to check out.
Okay, I might have to look into that.
I was gonna watch Gargoyles, but I think I'll watch Ultraverse instead. I think that's the best.
Glintine, God damn it! You need to watch Gargoyles. You are missing. You are missing out.
That's what people tell me.
It's like Batman the Animated Series, but if it was also kind of an epic fantasy.
Yeah, I wonder too. That's a good question. I wonder. Black Spider saying, "What would people say about Mantra now?" Dominic, are you back? Let's see if he's got the thing under control there. But considering one, it's about a guy in a woman's body. Eventually, he accepts that he's in a woman's body. So. And does woman things. So I don't know. I don't know how it would go.
Well,
they'd probably try to turn them into a trans character. Let's
let Dom have his say, because it sounds like he's here now.
Well, yes and no, but it's more of Lucas sharing a body with Edith, because of her potential with magic.
Okay then.
So it's like after Kent died in the Dr. Fate comics, and he and Enzo wound up sharing the same body for a bit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So keep it out like with Lucas, like him and his fellow warriors. They've been in this ongoing eternal battle with Lord Boneyard, and whenever like him and the others die, the Archmage place them into bodies that they inhabit, but the bodies they inhabit are living people, so they're essentially, unintentionally, ripping these former men from their lives, to take part in this eternal secret war.
All right. Oh, so give us your overall review of Rune. Would you recommend the first 5 issues of Rune, and why? Why or why not?
Yes, I would recommend the issues 1 through 5, including issue 0. So for anyone who are interested in sword and sorcery, and if they're fans of Elric of Melniboné of the Eternal Champions.
Yeah, if you at all have any crossover with my taste in comics, if you like the original run of Hellblazer, or Neil Gaiman's Sandman, or Roy Thomas's Elric of Melniboné, you need to read this yesterday. That's how urgently you need to read this. And especially if you are sick and goddamn tired of the mid-wit quality of modern day writers, the modern San Francisco level of writing. If you want a comic with a little bit of literary heft to it again, this will scratch that itch pretty well, I think.
Alrighty. And anything else to say about the Rune? Something we didn't talk about you wanted to bring up before we call it, as we hit the 40-minute mark here?
No, I think we hit everything.
Yeah,
I don't really have anything else to add.
You were kind of quiet throughout. Do you want to add anything? Anything we may have missed?
Well, the two of you pretty much cover the bases, because if I said anything else, it would have been a repeat.
Okay, all righty. Let me scroll up on our Twitter here. After Rune next week, if you guys want to join, you know what? Before I announce this, let me bring up a picture so everybody knows what to look for, because I'm assigning homework, ladies and gentlemen.
Again, Which to be fair, that is kind of the point of this series, is to dig things out of the Longbox that quite a lot of people either haven't heard of or haven't thought about in a while. So,
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So in the chat, you guys can join in what we're talking about and everything. I think it's more fun if you
if we turn you on to something you haven't heard or haven't heard of in a while, so much the better.
Admittedly, our first few of these are very much kind of inside baseball stories. We don't have, we're not exactly doing the death of Superman or something along those lines on the first
No. But then again, everyone already knows about things like Death of Superman.
Yeah, that's part of it. Where it's like, oh wait, I know this cool thing. I would love to talk about it. And what we did was we went through one night and we were talking about what we wanted to do. We even let you guys pick. Dark Admiral picked out a couple of them. But for next week, if you guys want to join the conversation, it's my pick, and it is called Dick Tracy, True Hearts, and I put it on the background there. Look at that. So unprofessional. It's called Dick Tracy, True Hearts and Tommy Guns. Although I am messing up here, man. Nothing ever goes on that first try, is it? I just don't think. There you go.
Technical difficulties, kids.
It's a 3-issue series, the complete True Hearts and Tommy Gun trilogy. This is basically the story that was released with the movie. So the first 2 issues are the rise of Big Boy Caprice, played by Al Pacino in the movie, and the 3rd issue is actually the movie adaptation itself. This thing steers hard into Dick Tracy lore. It's one of my favorite things about it. You even see, like at the beginning of the Dick Tracy movie, you've got Littleface and Prune Face and all them playing poker and everything. Mm-hmm. It has all the villains. It has all the good villains, and it is wild. It is wild. There we go. On Mondays, Rhaegar. At what time? Y'all just want to make this 10:30, like the readings? Or do you want to make it 9?
We can if you want to.
We can start them at 9, but we do have to be done by 9:45 so I can get my daughter. That's all we have to do. Or we can start at 8:30.
Or we can just do 10:30, like the cover rankings.
Is that okay with you, Dom?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, that doesn't sneak into anything that you have going on.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, cool.
And like in the future, for terms of the Longbox, like if you guys are impressed with the reading of Rune, we can even cover more books from the Ultraverse. And that's a quick correction for the animated series. It's Ultra Force, not Ultraverse.
Okay.
That's the name of the universe. But as for the other titles, actually Admiral, he recommended Sludge and The Strangers.
Yeah, those are really good books. Let's see. Dark Admiral's talking about Cadillac and dinosaurs being on. Yeah, that would be fun. Dom, you better answer your future father-in-law. Wait, what? Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
The running joke is still running.
Yes, that Dom is going to marry my daughter, or else. Yeah. I know a lot of people overlook Marvel Comics Presents, but Barry Windsor-Smith's run on Weapon X was damn near masterwork in my opinion. Says Dark Admiral. I agree.
Oh yeah,
that's really
very much.
Story.
No, objectively, it remains the best illustrated and written comic book series of all time.
Who wrote Rune? It was Barry Windsor-Smith. He both wrote it and drew it. If you're talking about True Hearts and Tommy Gun, it was a guy named John Francis Moore, and it was drawn by Kyle Baker. So the art is a little bit wild, but it fits a Dick Tracy story. We're going around in a circle, so it's like I pick one, Dom picks one, Dalton picks one, and it works out that way.
And we rinse and repeat as it goes.
Yeah, because then it's Dylan Dog. He was in a movie called Dylan Dog, Dead of Night, starring Brandon Ruth. And we're going to be doing the first issue of that, first appearance of Dylan Dog. I will have to cover up the boobs. And then I do believe it's my pick again, and it would be Camelot 3000 Part 1. Because that's 12 issues. So we'll just have to do it in sets. But that's what's coming up, guys. So if you want to do some reading and come back next week and talk some Dick Tracy with us, I think we'll have a lot of fun. Let's see. The Ultraverse is now a lost universe. It really is, but it's still good. The Meta Barons by Humanoids, 2000 to 2002, is a must read. I heard about this. But there you go. All right. Anything you guys want to add before we call it?
Nope. I think that's about a clean house there.
All righty. Well, hopefully we got some people interested in the story Rune. Don't forget, if you want to join the conversation next week, we're going to be doing Dick Tracy, the True Hearts and Tommy Gunn's trilogy.
And if you have any recommendations you want added to the rotation, go to Anglin Teens Ko-Fi and Money.
Well, I was actually about to bring that up. Links in the description below. You could go on. You could just drop $5 and say, "Hey, I want you to talk about Meta Barons," or I want you to talk about this and that, and that will get priority. By the way, anybody who if you do a Ko-Fi request and you drop the money in, that will be priority. So there you go. Oh, you guys going off. I'm back to Comics Division. Says right. You have a good night, guys. Have a good night, Rhaegar. Thank you very much to everybody who hung out. And don't forget to do all the clicking and liking. And thank you very, very much for watching. Have a good night.
Cheers, guys.
See you all later.